We're outside on this chilly Washington day to talk about frame bags.
It is very cold. So if you're wanting to maximize your space while bike touring or bike packing, you might be looking into getting a frame bag.
Hi, I'm Chris.
I'm Hillary, and together we're Slow Spokes. We wanted to share with you our 2 frame bags. This is Chris's. That one's mine. I don't ever want to talk at a camera. So I have a custom full frame bag from Rogue Panda.
And I have a wedge frame bag from Rockgeist.
I like to keep my food in my top compartment because I liked that soft things and fragile things wouldn't get beat up quite so much up there. And I also like the low center of gravity. In the bottom half, I kept my rain gear because I really liked to be able to just get that out right away if I needed it.
In mine, I kept a light and packable backpack in the lower compartment so that it was always accessible whenever we needed it for trips into grocery stores or archaeological sites. In the top half, I kept larger bulky items such as a U-lock, bike pump, or other things that rotated throughout the trip.
For my Rogue Panda bag, I got the topo print in Sunset. They have a lot of great colors and styles, and you can even customize the topo lines, like where the map is, for an extra $40, and I was so close to shelling out that extra money, but ultimately I decided not to. I couldn't find out before we recorded this exactly what the materials were that this bag is made out of, but I will look into that and try and figure it out.
I chose the X-Pac Cotton Duck in brown truffle for my bike because I thought that it looked really good with the steel frame and leather saddle, but it isn't exactly the lightest option. And over the tour, the color did fade quite a bit.
These bags are water resistant but not waterproof, so they will hold off a light rain, but they're not somewhere that we generally like to keep our electronics or even clothes that you really want to keep dry.
The materials used for my Rockgeist bag seem to be a little bit more water resistant than the topo design on Hillary's bag.
There are lots of options for frame bag shape, and I chose a full frame bag because I wanted to maximize my space, and also I knew that I wanted to carry my water elsewhere on the bike.
I went for the wedge frame bag because I wanted to be able to carry a giant water bottle inside of the main triangle, and I also found it to be much easier to lift the bike without a frame bag occupying all of the top tube space. The smaller space meant less storage, but it still really helped for organization.
So you can also get a partial or a half frame bag so that you can have space for water bottles below, or you can get a full suspension frame bag and customize it based on what kind of shock you have. We both chose to get frame bags with 2 zippers, so 2 compartments. There's a divider in the middle made of that hook and loop fabric that you can open or close based on what you want to keep inside, so it just helps with having a few more options for organization and carrying larger items if you need to. I found that divider in the middle helped to keep my bag from bulging out when I stuffed it really full of stuff. I had been worried that using a frame bag that my knees were going to rub against the fabric when I was pedaling. It still happened a little bit, but it really didn't bother me at all. The only drawback to having this divided system is that it costs a little bit more, and there's extra material because of that divider and the extra zipper, and so it's just a little bit more weight.
Rockgeist bags will either come with the horizontal zipper partition, or if you don't want the extra entrance and extra weight with another zipper, the standard option is to have a vertical partition that will help keep the bag from ballooning out. Will also allow you to pack things like tent poles more easily around it. We also both opted for the map pocket on the non-drive side of the bag, which was really useful for storing our click stands, but maybe not for much else as we didn't use maps.
We used maps, they were just digital maps.
True. It also, of course, adds more weight and a little bit more cost to the final price. When designing your frame bag, you'll have to choose how to attach it to your bike. There are 3 options, either lace up, hook and loop, or bolt on, or a combination of all 3, depending on your bike, your budget, and your preference.
The lace-up option is made of woven P-cord, and it's more stable than hook and loop. It's supposedly easier on your paint than the hook and loop, but they send it with protective tape anyway, so it really isn't a big problem. Also, I found that it was less likely to interfere with straps for a top tube bag. It's also slightly more expensive and is harder to take on and off of your frame. I found when I installed it for the first time, it took me about 45 minutes, but I haven't ever taken it off and I don't plan to, so it really isn't a big problem.
Of note, Rockgeist did not send the protective film with the bag, so I had to search out helicopter tape and buy that on Amazon. The bolt-on option can work really well, and it is sleeker than the other two options, but you have to have enough bottle bosses to make it work. It also does take a little bit longer than the hook and loop, but it's certainly faster than lacing up the whole top tube. Because the lower bottle boss was so close to the corner of my frame bag, it was actually really hard to get a hex wrench in to tighten the standard bolt. But Salsa makes a thumb screw that works really well there. Paired with a fender washer, I think that helped keep my bag a little bit drier. We'll add a link in the description.
Both bags come standard with a hydration port in the front, so you can run a hydration tube from a hydration pack. How many times can I say hydration? Inside the frame bag if you'd like.
Neither of us used a hydration bladder on this trip, but I could see how it would be really useful if you were to use one. Both companies made the ordering process extremely easy.
But since you are ordering a custom-made frame bag, there's a little bit more back and forth. You just head over to either website, put in your preferences, and then send them information on your bike.
They have some bike frames on file to pull the dimensions off of, but in our case, we did have to follow the instructions on the website for taking pictures and sending those in to get the correct dimensions for our bikes. You do want to order your bag a few months in advance though, because lead times can be up to 3 months. We both loved using our frame bags, and since we've ordered them in 2022, both companies have added more options for customization.
If we forgot anything or left anything out, please let us know in the comments. Until next time, happy trails!